Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama. Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakacarya Stotara Shata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Granth-raj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Granth-raj Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 13. Rahugana converses with Jadabharata, text number 7. Shurerhitasva kvacha nirvinna cheta shochan vimuhyan upayati kashmalam kvachiccha gandharvapuram pravishta pramodate nirvritavan muhurtam shurairhitasva kvacha nirvinna cheta shochan vimuhyan upayati kashmalam kvachiccha gandharvapuram pravishta pramodate nirvritavan muhurtan. Please chant. Pramodate nirvritavan muhurtam. क्वचिच्च गान्धर्वपुरं प्रविष्टा प्रमोदते निर्वृतवन्मुहूर्तम्. Ladies, please. शूरैर्हितस्व क्वच निर्विन्नचेता क्वचिच्च गन्धर्वपुरं प्रविष्टा प्रमोदते निर्वृतवन्मुहूर्तम्. Shuraihi, by very powerful enemies. Hritasva, all of whose possessions have been stolen. Kvacha, sometimes. Nirvinnachetaha, very morose and aggrieved at heart. Shochan, deeply lamenting. Vimohyan, becoming bewildered. Upayati, achieves. Kashmalam, unconsciousness. Kvachit, sometimes. Cha, also. Gandharvapuram, an imaginary city in the forest. Pravishta, having entered. Pramodate, he enjoys. Nirvritavat, exactly like a person who has achieved success. Muhurtam, for a moment only. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sometimes being defeated or plundered by a superior, powerful agent, a living entity loses all his possessions. He then becomes very morose, and lamenting their loss, he sometimes becomes unconscious. Sometimes he imagines a great palatial city in which he desires to live happily with his family members and riches. He thinks himself fully satisfied if this is possible, but so-called happiness continues only for a moment. Purport. The word Gandharvapuram is very significant in this verse. Sometimes in the forest, a very big castle appears, and this is called a castle in the air. Actually, this castle does not exist anywhere but in one's imagination. This is called Gandharvapura. In the material forest, the conditioned soul sometimes contemplates great castles and skyscrapers, and he wastes his energy for such things, hoping to live in them very peacefully with his family forever. However, the laws of nature do not allow this. When he enters such castles, he temporarily thinks that he is very happy, even though his happiness is impermanent. His happiness may last for a few years, but because the owner of the castle has to leave the castle at the time of death, everything is eventually lost. This is the way of worldly transactions. Such happiness is described by Vidyapati as the happiness one derives upon seeing a drop of water in the desert. The desert is heated by scorching sunshine, and if we want to reduce the desert temperature, we need huge amounts of water, millions and millions of gallons. What effect will one drop have? Water certainly has value, but one drop of water cannot reduce the heat of the desert. In this material world, everyone is ambitious, but the heat is very scorching. What will an imaginary castle in the air do to help? Srila Vidyapati has therefore sung Tatakala Shaikate Vari Bindhu Sama Sutamita Ramani Samaje. The happiness of family life, friends and society is compared to a drop of water in the scorching desert. The entire material world is busy trying to attain happiness because happiness is the prerogative of the living being. Unfortunately, due to falling in contact with the material world, the living entity simply struggles for existence. Even if one becomes happy for a while, a very powerful enemy may plunder everything. There are many instances in which big businessmen suddenly become paupers in the street. Yet the nature of material existence is such that foolish people are attracted to these transactions and they forget the real business of self-realization. Om Ajnanatimmirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chaksurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Every day, as devotees of Krishna, we begin our day by expressing our gratitude to that merciful incarnation or representative of Krishna, the spiritual masters who have intervened in our life and made us see the truth of the fallacy of pursuing our dreams or material desires. Therefore, that gratitude expressed is Om Ajnana Timirandasya. This Timira Andha, the darkness, is that we have a very determined decision to pursue material happiness. And in some cases innocently, in some cases callously, like I don't care even if I've heard something differently, I don't care. This is what is interesting to me. And in that pursuit, we blindly enter into the forest of material existence. And so to remove that suffering or that difficulty, the spiritual master trains and guides, or I should say in plural, the spiritual masters guide and train us out of that condition, just so that we stop hurting ourselves. Now, there are many persons, I think the word is called masochists, right, who like to punish themselves. And for some reason from that they derive pleasure, or they think that's how things should be. And we are also like that. The conditioned living entity is like that. And because everyone else is also doing it, it seems justified. Why are you punishing yourself? How can I be the odd man out? Everyone is doing it. Why should I be the odd man out? I might miss something out. And so the slogan for material existence is no pain, no gain. You have to undergo some pain to gain something. Yes, tapasya is, on the other hand, we will talk about it. But no pain, no gain. But that's just the formula. But in reality, it is no gain, but a lot of pain. This is the material world. And it is very alluring. Madhumangal was in a drama in the temple once, many years ago. I think called it the circus or something. Madhumangal was the clown. I didn't say is the clown, I said was the clown. He was the clown. And his job was to entice people to come and participate or see the circus. So he was here with his stick The clowns smile and he would chant, only a quarter for the ticket. Come on, only a quarter. So one innocent person says, oh, I'd like to see the circus. He pays him the quarter, and Madhumangal led him into the door there. And there were two burly fellows. One was Santosh Prabhu and someone else. Who was the other one? Abhishek. Big burly, muscular, with their shirts and black shirts, faces all painted black. And as soon as the person enters the circus tent, bam, 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 beat him up like anything. It's like, oh, save me, and the guy runs out. And the clown is still outside. Oh, only a quarter. So another innocent fellow asked the guy who just got beat up, did you see the circus? Oh, yes. How was it? Very nice. Very nice. You should also go. So the second victim, the third. And when they come out, no one dares to tell the others, oh no, don't go inside, because you'll get beat up. The whole philosophy is, I don't want to tell anyone that material life is full of suffering. I don't want to say, because I'll be the odd man out, because so many people have gone in. How can I say it's suffering? Oh, it's very nice. You should also go. I was thinking for someone like Daniel or Prabhu to give this project of take this chapter and put it in a painting. It will be so gory, every verse after verse, after how the person in the forest of material existence is suffering. Sometimes they say, picture is the picture is worth 1,000 words. For conditioned soul in the forest with these thorns, tigers, mosquitoes biting, fruitless trees, imagining these castles in the air, envious persons plundering away his riches. What a picture. I post it right here. People will come and say, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shadbhuja form, little Govinda sitting on his mother's lap. Oh, with the what is that picture? Oh, that's the reality of what we are facing. Very gory picture. Sometimes these words are necessary. When someone speaks the naked truth, it is helpful. People don't like to hear the naked truth because it's too, you should say it nicely. The Bhagavatam is not meant for saying it nicely. The Bhagavatam gets to the root of it and says this material life is a formula for pain and suffering, and stop it. So in this whole series of verses, one word that keeps repeating again and again is kvachit, 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 which means sometimes. So there is a variety of suffering, and sometimes this suffering, sometimes that suffering. Sometimes this suffering, sometimes that suffering. The only thing that has not changed is suffering. All that is changing is the varieties of ways in which one is suffering. And even here, there is some mention of happiness. Pramodate. Pramodate nirvritvan muhurtam. Moda means happiness. Like muda bhiri nari. Muda means affection. Pramoda means deeply enjoying. But that deeply enjoying is, it says, for muhurtam. Muhurta is very short time. It's only the sense of enjoying. Really, there isn't one. And that is the fallacy. While he's constantly suffering, in between there is a relief, and he thinks that is happiness. It's like if you were to bang someone's head against the wall 20 times, and you don't do it the 21st time, the person will be very happy. Bang! Again. So just because he hasn't banged his head against the wall the 21st time, he thinks that is happiness. Or you take someone's head and you dunk it in water, so they can't breathe. And then you let it out. And they can take one gush of fresh air, and they feel so good about it. And everyone else is normally breathing all the time. But that breath has the most value. But people are breathing otherwise normally, and we don't appreciate the value of each breath, except when there is so much suffering associated with not breathing. So this is material life. It is constantly problematic. And a person who doesn't make any plans to get out of it will be constantly under distress and without any solution. This is the problem. In material life, there is no solution. People do find solutions. In fact, the whole of science and technology is to find solutions to those problems. And to date, not one scientist or doctor has been able to find a solution. But they have spent a lot of money. They've spent a lot of time. And at best, they can give us some symptomatic relief. And most people settle for symptomatic relief as happiness. Oh, at least that's there. But symptomatic relief is not the solution. The other day when we were speaking, Narada Muni was talking about transferring the weight from the head to the shoulder to the hip is the symptomatic relief. When I'm carrying a big burden on my head, my neck hurts like anything, so I move the weight to my shoulder. And my neck is not so hurting anymore. And I think, this is not so bad. Then when the shoulder hurts, I move the weight to my hip, and then the shoulder feels relieved. And then when the hip hurts, what does the person do? He puts the weight back on his head. But the real solution is to get rid of that dead weight. But he cannot. He's too attached. He's too attached to his conceptions. The conceptions he has been told from his childhood, life after life, throughout life. There is happiness in the material world. Search for it, man. It's there. You just have to work a little hard. Be a little intelligent if necessary. But it's there. It is there. Look, it's there. And that's the Gandharva Puram that Prabhupada says is very significant. This imagination about happiness, fantasy. And others are showing such persons, it is there. Because they're also seeing the mirage, and they're showing that mirage to others, and they convince them. And to convince people, what they have done is they have created a whole system of lifestyle, whereby you go to school, you learn these things, that it is there. You have to go through school to get that happiness. And it is available through advertising, right? The clown was advertising, 25 cents, quarter, happiness. So we have all these commercials. And interestingly, all the commercials, people are always looking very happy. Even if their car is completely smashed, doesn't matter. I have Geico insurance or something like that. Smiling faces, happy families. People are not happy. It's just a facade. A wife nicely cooking for the husband. The children are all happy. You go to someone's house and you see how they're fighting. Constantly bickering and fighting. This happy family, that product is so wonderful. The clothes are all so white. They're drinking this 5-hour energy drink, and they can do all these things. They show these elderly persons who are struggling with arthritis. They take one pill and they're running in the fields happily. It's not like that. But that's the allurement of commercials and advertisement, to convince us, yes, take that pill. And how many pills does a person have to take? This for arthritis, that for headache, this for blood pressure, that for cholesterol. It's like a meal. All the pills together is a meal in itself. Just because they're convinced it is there, it's possible. And they pursue it again and again and again. This is Gandharva Puram. And even if someone experiences, we're not fatalistic or something that, even if there is a semblance of some happiness. Prabhupada quotes Srila Vidyapati saying, what is the use of one drop of water in the desert? Suppose we are in the desert and we've been walking and walking. It's a scorching heat, no water, nothing to eat. Walking through the desert, and somehow we find one drop of water. Has it any value? In fact, it makes us even more thirsty. That one drop of water, instead of quenching the thirst, it makes a person more thirsty. It is dissatisfying. But a person pursues it. Hey, one drop, another drop, another drop. Even if you take 50 drops, it's not like those 50 drops are going to quench the thirst. Especially when they don't come together. You get a drop once in few hours. So the Bhagavatam, Mahabharata, they all give these very stark, scary. Some people don't like this, so they say, I like the story of Krishna's past Leelas with the gopis. At least that's entertaining. He looked at her, he smiled at her, he winked at her, they giggled. That's nice. What is this? Why are you telling me these stories? That there are envious persons like mosquitoes biting, they're all my relatives. I'm living an imaginary life of Gandharva. I like the Puranjana and Purvachitti story. She was actually attractive. All her features were described nicely. Give me something that I can find some hope in it. You're giving me a story that's hopeless. Therefore, the movie industry, we were talking about the other day, is so successful because every story ends with hope. There's hope in it. Either the hero struggles, but at the end of it, even if he's dangling from the top of a building, he gets the heroine. He gets his lost money. He makes justice happens. He avenges or takes revenge from all his enemies, and there is always hope that the cops show up and save the day. When I was young, my father used to make an observation. This is totally off topic, but he said that, have you noticed in the movies, the cops only come after all the damage has been made and the hero has destroyed everything. They mostly come like they're janitors. They come to clean up stuff. They never come to save the day. They always come in the end after everything has been destroyed. But still there is hope that the system will help me. I'll feel protected by the police. It's nothing like that. So people don't like Bhagavatam when the naked truth is spoken. But a person who has been awakened, has met the wonderful parampara, they actually appreciate this naked truth more than anything else. Because one who speaks the naked truth is the true friend. One who dissuades or hides the truth from us is not our friend. Because in hiding the truth, we are misled. We are misled into an artificial or into a fantasy. One who can tell us, don't even try. It's not worth it. That's our true friend. Because with that we save time, we save money, we save our effort, and most importantly, we save ourselves. And Prabhupada says that in all circumstances, saving ourselves is the first order of business. Sarvanam atmayo rakshet. Saving ourselves means connecting back to Krishna, giving ourselves life. We are not meant to suffer. Prabhupada ends the purport with happiness is the prerogative of the living being. It's just that we're looking for it. The conditioned living entity looks for it in the wrong place. Very sincerely, but searches in the wrong place. So, Jada Bharata, through Rahugana Maharaj, is helping all of us. So this is to convince us every day, just as people, those who are not devotees of Krishna, excuse me, they are convinced every day that keep going, you will find happiness. Similarly, the devotees are convinced every day by the Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita, the devotees of Krishna, that don't try it. Don't try the material program again. It has taken a lot to unplug us from that program. So don't try it. Don't even think about it. So it's not just don't think about the material program. Our program is reconnect with Krishna. And all happiness exists in our service to Krishna because Krishna is the source of happiness. Even if in the day-to-day, as life as a devotee, there is distress due to the fellow devotees or bodily distress or the circumstances we don't like. I wish the ashram was like this. I wish the situation was like that. All those distresses are still in the category of happiness. They're not in the category of suffering. There is a difference between tapasya and tapatraya. Both are physically uncomfortable, sometimes even mentally uncomfortable. But the outcomes are very different. Through tapatraya, what one gets is more of suffering. Through tapasya, one gets happiness. Tapo divyam putraka yena sattvam shuddhyet yasmat. Through tapasya, one becomes purified. Through tapatraya, one becomes even further implicated. So it might look same, but it's not. Someone will say, I'm working very hard, going to work, trying to maintain my family. And look at that sage or whoever, he's also sitting in this lotus position or from morning till night. They're also working very hard, sweeping the floors, cleaning this, cooking for Krishna, distributing books, whatever. They're working hard, I'm working hard. At least I'm not a parasite. I'm earning my money. You're not a parasite. It's worse than a worm life. Those persons who are serving Krishna, in that difficulty, they're joyful. Can one say that one is working very hard and joyful? One has to convince himself he's joyful. How does he do that? He sits at home, looks at his big TV and relaxes. That is his enjoyment. The fruit of his hard work. That's how he has to. And he doesn't realize that he has paid $3,000 for that TV and he's paying each month in installments. So he has to continue working hard to watch that big screen TV. Very nice. What is this? And the effect of it, this is a sidebar topic, but sitting there, what happens sitting and watching TV like that on the couch? Obesity, couch potato. All the diseases come because he's sitting there. And then he has to take medicine. And what does he see there? Fantasy. Good looking, smiling ladies. His own wife must be yelling at him like anything. You don't do anything, you're just a slob there, you slid there like a slouch. And he looks at this beauty, at least this woman is not shouting, this is so nice. This is not happiness. This is craziness. So this fantasy continues. And one perpetuates. And others are also doing it. They feel left out. Oh, if I don't do it, someone else will do it and they'll become happy and I'm missing out on something. I don't want to miss out on anything. So it requires courage to plug out of that program. We call it the conveyor belt lifestyle model, CBLM. Everyone is sitting on the conveyor belt. It's like suitcases. The only difference is one suitcase looks different from the other. One is black, one is green, one is red. Nowadays, even colors don't come. They all look black. So you have to tie something to recognize your suitcase. You can tell it's a devotee suitcase because the dhoti ends are all tied to the handles. It's a green border, red border ties. With others, they have these fancy ribbons and stuff. Devotees have put gamcha or dhoti pieces. But they all look black. They all look the same. And like a suitcase just go on the belt. What is this lifestyle? It's terrible. So the Mahabharata conveys a story very similar to this. In the Mahabharata also there is forest of material existence story. I've narrated this in the past, so I'll say it again. I like this story. I heard from Bhakti Purushottam Maharaj many years ago, 2001, I think. In fact, that situation when he was narrating the story, that evening, a few days before that, I had bought my new car. This car that I drive, that was very new at that time. I had bought it in May. Maharaj was there in September. So it's new. And new car, I was driving on a street and a guy came from this side and crashed right into a new car. The whole front, the hood, the two wheels, everything got crushed. Nothing happened to me. Everything got crushed. After paying whatever $20,000 for this car, I had to pay $10,000 just to fix it back up. First 2 months. And that evening was this program with Bhakti Purushottam Maharaj when the accident happened. So I took care of all the formalities, the insurance, police and all that. Then I go to the home program. Someone else had to pick me up. I went to the home program. And this is the story I hear from Bhakti Purushottam Maharaj. There is a guy who's in a forest. And he's looking around and suddenly he hears the ruffling of some leaves behind him. So he thinks, someone is behind me. He doesn't have the strength or courage to look who that is. So he starts walking. And as he's walking, he hears the rumbling also, the leaves also rumbling at the same pace. Then he starts walking faster. The footsteps behind him also go faster. So he starts running. And the footsteps also go running after it. He's now thinking there is something behind him. And while he's running like that with his eyes closed, the bushes are bruising his skin and there are cuts and it doesn't matter. At that time when a thorn cuts us, it's really insignificant. Otherwise, even you get a paper cut the whole day, you're thinking, man, a paper cut. At that moment, it doesn't matter. Whatever bruises, cuts, fall down, hit a bang tree, it doesn't matter. In that rush, he falls into a blind well. And the well is small enough, so he somehow puts his hands across and is slipping down, falling through the well, and he holds on to something. And he's hanging now. And he looks up. There's this ferocious tiger that was pursuing him. He says, got saved. He's hanging. It's a very uncomfortable position. But he's thinking, I'm saved. The tiger is not eating me up. He thinks, I'll go down to the bottom of the well because it's a blind well. I'll sit there peacefully. Once the tiger leaves, I will come out. So he wants to go down, and at the bottom of the well, he hears a hissing sound. Psst. So he says, it's a deadly snake down there. Hanging is not so bad. I'll keep hanging. So what is very uncomfortable right now becomes quite comfortable. And he's in this dark well, he's looking around, and he sees two lights, tiny lights on this side and two tiny lights on this side. So he squints to find out what they are. There's one black mouse on this side and a white mouse on this side. And they look at him, they smile at him, and they start nibbling at the rope that he's holding on to. So he's like freaking out. Man. Because very soon they'll bite the rope and I'll fall down and there's a deadly snake down there. So in an exasperation, he looks up to see if the tiger is still there. The tiger's watching him. But above the tiger is a tree, branch of a tree in which there's a beehive. and bees are buzzing, bzz, and somehow a drop of honey falls on him, and it falls here on his cheek. Now he doesn't know that it is honey, but it has fallen on his cheek. So how to find out? Curious fellow, right? He has to find out what it is. What does he do? Mukunda, what does he do? What would you do? Thou try to lick it, and that's what he does. So he extends his tongue out all the way to his cheek to lick it, to know what it is. And it's pure organic honey. And boy, does he get so happy. In the middle of all of this suffering, there's a deadly tiger. I'm hanging by ropes. These mice are biting at. There's a deadly snake, but there is honey. And so he extends his tongue out, waiting for the next drop. So sometimes the drop falls on his tongue. Pramodate nirvritvan muhurtam. Because nirvitvan means one who's very successful, like a person who's very successful. He's very successful that he got a drop of honey. Sometimes the drop falls on his forehead, so he feels, just missed it. Just missed it. Don't we feel sometimes that success we just missed it? Like if someone's playing a game and they're almost about to win, but they lose it. Or they're about to make this, really, they've invested in some project that's promised to make money, but somehow it doesn't happen. A job situation that interview went well, we thought we'll get it, everything, at the last minute, it goes away. It's like that. So the Mahabharata describes that is the state of the conditioned soul, that he's in a very precarious situation. And it explains the tiger is all the problems that are chasing us. And we're trying to run away from those problems. And those problems are quite ferocious. The deadly snake at the bottom of the well is death, always there, waiting. The ropes by which the living entity is hanging is the lifespan. Some people have thicker ropes, some people have thinner ropes, some people are hanging by twine, whatever. And the two mice are the night and day, and they're happily nibbling away at our lifespan. And that drop of honey is this useless material pleasure that one gets in the middle of all this very risky situation. And because that honey is sweet, naturally, a person forgets the reality of the situation in which he is enjoying that honey. Because the sweetness of that is very captivating. This is material life. The honey is not like he's going to get a stream that is flowing through. Nothing. But he's very, very eager to get that honey. And this is the terrible condition in the material life. So the picture is very stark, that pursuing material happiness is a completely useless program, and one should not do it. Once His Holiness Radha Govinda Maharaj was talking about how Vedic principles, they're very straightforward. They say, do not do something. Like the regulative principles, do not break them. They're very strict like that. And he said, we should not challenge those things. You shouldn't say, let me see what happens. Really? Do they work like that? Because the Vedas say, don't do this, the consequence is this. Please don't do it. They don't even say please. They just say, like they say in America, keep off the grass. No, please, just keep off the grass. So the Vedas also say, keep off material stuff. So you shouldn't try it. He said, like in India, there are these high tension wires. They have electricity passing at very high voltage, 10,000 volts or something. And there is a board, a red color board, with a skull and two bones under it. That is to show danger. And it's meant that you should not touch. So he said, some people will say, really? Is there high voltage? Let me touch and see. Or are they just cheating me? He said, if you touch, you will not be there to tell someone that it is true. Because you'd be completely electrocuted. So you can't tell someone, hey, actually there is electricity. So like this, he said, the Vedic principles, they say, don't do something. Don't challenge it. Better not to challenge it, because you will not be there to tell someone that is true. So these stark or naked truths are very important to hear and to be sufficiently, we heard the word pessimistic. Maharaj was narrating the definition of pessimism. And we should be pessimistic about the futility in material life. Okay, any comments, questions? Prabhu? Hare Krishna. Tapatraya. Yeah, promise, or at least, but you don't experience it. It's called elusive happiness. In tapasya, you experience happiness at that time. That's the difference. It's not a promise in the future. The taste is there at that time. But Patra, it's only a promise for the future. But now, in the future, you'll be very happy. And most people become happy just from that. Oh, in the future. But they don't experience it at that time. But in life, there is happiness at that moment. If we have the association of a sadhu, or nice kirtan, or some festival, or someday we're moment. Chanting 16 rounds every day is not necessarily for everyone a joyful experience. It is joyful. That is the reason we do it every day. Somehow